Patrick Cook here. Welcome to session number 41 of our Mastering Mandelbulb 3D Formula tutorial series. The last couple sessions we were messing around with what was it, BT1 Pine and Amazing Box. I didn't like where it was going. I felt that the details were too small. I was a little afraid that I might not really be able to get a good sharp image if I was to render it with a still or or with an animation. So I really didn't like where that was going. So I'm trashing all of that. That's the nature of Mandelbulb 3D. You just have to keep trying things. But what I like to do is I like to build. I like to get a couple formulas together, two formulas maybe that kind of look good, and I feel that kind of provides a base to work with before I modify properties, before I throw more formulas into it. Let's try something else. Okay, let's go down a different channel here. I'm going to stay on alternate mode. What I found is alternate mode is a good way to find Mandelbulb formulas with visuals that look interesting. All right, Interpolate, as you remember, will average two formulas together. DEcombinate is doing a volumetric Boolean operations. So the point being is that Interpolate and DEcombinate are actually modifying the graphics on the screen mathematically, whereas the alternate mode, the alternate hybrid mode, is not it's not modifying the math until you get into the properties and the iteration count. All right. So the point being is that the alternate mode gives us an opportunity to see what the Mandelbulb looks like in its default native rendering. And the alternate mode, in my opinion, is a good way to be able to discover what these Mandelbulb fractal images actually look like without forcing a mathematical modification at and the undercovers of the Mandelbulb 3D application. So I hope that subtle little point helps. So let's do this. Let's pull up a. How about let's do a Beth 322. I'm going to render that, see what that looks like. Interesting. It's kind of, I wouldn't really call it organic. It's not plant life organic. It's kind of odd and weird. But let's go to formula number 2 here, formula slot number 2. Let's go to, I don't know, let's throw Rain Man at it. Okay, all right, interesting. Now, I have a shape in an alternate hybrid mode. Okay, those shapes are layered. Okay, so they're not impacting one another. I have no transform formulas in here yet. Very, very simple combination of two formulas with minimum mathematical modification. Now, what I want to know is, can it handle the detail? What can I do with this before I start throwing more formulas at it and modifying properties? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that over into the navigator. Let's turn the navigator on so you can see it. So here we're in the navigator. Now, can I walk in on this and will it hold the detail? Interesting. Okay. Does it hold the detail? So I'm going to slide up. Okay, that's interesting. Now I'm going to push that back to main, recalculate in main. I'm going to turn the navigator off so we can see what we're doing. Now the reason I pushed it back to main is so that I get a higher resolution with the proper lighting and coloring on my screen. Now that's very interesting, because what I've effectively done here is I've taken two Mandelbulbs, BF322 and Rayman, combined them or layered them in alternative hybrid mode, and then I used the navigator and really pulled in to see whether or not I could get down into the details. And it's looking interesting. Now let's go back over to the navigator. Turn it back on for you. And why not? Let me push in even further. I'm really pushing in hard. Now in the navigator, you see how it's the resolution is much lower. It's dithered. All right. I want to know whether or not I can actually get that close into this fractal. I'm holding the shift key down while I slide. Now I'm going to push that back over to main, recalculate in main. I'm going to turn off the navigator to get it out of our way. Now what I've been asking myself is, with these two fractals in alternate hybrid mode, can I move my camera in on this object closely, and how does it handle it? That's the question. All right. You're not always going to want. As a matter of fact, let me get a little sidetracked here. You're not usually going to want a big bulb sitting there in the middle of your screen, whether it's an animation or a still. I mean, okay, it's interesting, but so what? What you're probably going to do most of the time is to try to get that camera right into it and really get close, because then you start discovering interesting patterns like what we have on the screen. If you don't get your camera into that scene, you're not going to see the detail. All right. So that's very. So the question I had was, can I get my camera in on that particular two formula scenario? Can I get it in close? All right. And I can. Does it hold up the detail pretty well? It's okay. I mean, I can improve this. I can go in here. You see this area right here? It's kind of falling apart. All right. Well, I could get up in here and I could modify the ray step multiplier, and I could modify the DE stop, and I could probably improve that. A lot of discussion about improving quality in tutorial series number 1. That's not what we're here for. We're talking formulas here. But I could improve that. So we'll end this session by restating the question I had. With the two formulas that I had picked BF322 and Rayman with their default property values. Did it give me a scene which I can draw in hard on, and with the scene retaining its visual integrity? I would have to say in this particular scenario, yes. Now that means that I can get a lot more interesting visuals out of these two formulas combined in alternate hybrid mode. That's what it means, is that I can do something with this particular formula combo. That's all I want to ask. Can I do something with it? Can I get in on it? Does it hold the details? Does it have simulated depth? And it does. It's got some simulated depth in here. And I could get in here and I could start playing around with the lighting. And I could make all this shadowy, and I could put my light in different locations. I can do a lot with this. And that is the question. When you get two formulas or five formulas or six formulas in whatever hybrid mode you're in, you're asking the question, what can I do with it? How far can I take it? How interesting can I make it with camera position and lighting? And that's how you leverage the scenes from your formula combinations. That's how you do it. You get in on it, you get into it, you get that camera in there, and you find an interesting position for the camera. It's not only about the formula or the combination of the formulas, it's about what more visually you can extract from the result of multiple formulas. Okay? All right, hope that's helpful. All right, over time, again, I'll see you in the next session.